Oops, let's turn it around. Oh, maybe it's not turned around yet. Um, Here we go. So I'm just thinking here, sitting here and thinking in regards and looking on the Hebrew and reading the Hebrew, and have found this website where you can see if it's plural or singular and so forth, the words. And just, getting better at Hebrew and so forth. I will take some years, before, 2-3 years or something like that before I'll get to it if I have so long. But it's just it takes time to learn Hebrew, that's for sure. But the thing is, I'm thinking in regard to the translation. In the beginning, the gods created the heaven and the earth. You see, H 430 is Elohim. Elohim is the plural form of God. And many places it actually translates Elohim as plural in regard to false gods, that there are different false gods, they translate, to gods. But when we have God, they just say God in the English translation, and I'm not sure, I'm still trying to work things out if that actually, I'm just thinking, could you actually translate it as the gods? It's still the same God, but it's still the gods. But they are, because, you think about it, Yeshua says he's one with the Father, but the Son is, the Father is in heaven and the Son is on earth, and Yeshua says that they are one, but you have the Father and the Son, that would be two, and you have the Spirit as well. But just taking the Father and Son, we already have two entities, and we see these working together, all throughout the Bible. So anyway, so I'm just thinking, you would, the world was created through the Word, and the Word was God and was with God. So again, we have, Yeshua is already here in regards of the beginning of the world. In the beginning, the gods created the heaven and the earth. Because both the Father and the Son, created the world. So they are echad. They are one. Like, a man and a woman is echad. Anyway. And the earth was without form and void. And again, some of these English translations, when you go to the Hebrew, maybe, it can, you get some more nuggets, gold nuggets, if you actually dig into the Hebrew. But anyway, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit, and actually, I'm thinking, just this may be wrong, but the Spirit is the word ruach, and the ruach is also wind. So in some sense, you could also, now that could be totally wrong, I'm just thinking out of the box here, but in regards of was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of the gods, the wind of the gods, it could actually be translated as the wind, I think. So, and the wind of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now, I don't know if that, again, in regards to the plural form of God, we have H 430, which is the plural form of God, and also used by others. Yeshua talks about, if he called those gods which the Spirit of God had come to. So there are some, it's not like everybody, it seems. It's like the people that the Spirit of God comes to, maybe becomes part of God or something like that. We have the Son, and we have the sons of God, or the children of God, the children of the light, which are the disciples of Yeshua. And the thing is, we are going from death to life, And Yeshua is saying, to someone that wants to do something in regards of, but he's saying, let the dead bury the dead. They're still going around, but they are considered dead. Why would they be considered dead? Well, maybe because they don't come to the truth, the life, the way, Yeshua, who he is the life. And if they don't come to Yeshua, then they are in some sense still dead, because they are not in the living God yet. They are outside the living God. But when we become sons, sons of God, or children of God, we are now in the Son, and the Son is in the Father, and the Father and the Son is in the children by the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of Yeshua, which would be the Spirit of God. So we have all this, all this. It's just. So I'm thinking here, in the beginning, the gods created the heaven and the earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit, which also could be translated maybe as the wind, and the wind of the gods moved upon the face of the waters. Now, I don't know if that is, in regards of. But in regards of the wind, we have the breath that God, blew in the breath of life into the nostrils of Adam, and he becomes a living nephesh. So that is, when the breath returns to God, we are non-living, and our body decomposes, and the soul seems to go to Sheol, which is the realm of death. So that's the program code in some sense that is not active anymore, and the body decomposes, and then we sleep until the resurrection. So as I can see it, Anyway, still doing a lot of research on these things, but anyway, this doctrine of going directly to heaven, or going directly to hell, or going to purgatory, or whatever. It doesn't really seem like it actually fits the Bible. It seems like it actually is Satan deceiving us. When people die in the Bible, if you take the scriptures, the Torah and the prophets and so forth, it's talking about going to Sheol. When they're going to Sheol, it's in the earth. It's a place where we are going when we die, anyway, so to sleep, to my knowledge, anyway. And if the program is not active, well, then we wouldn't have any time. What do we call it? We wouldn't have any. If we went, if you have a program and it's active and it's running and all that, well, if you take the breath of life out of the program and it stops, the interface breaks down, like the body decomposes, and you have the code on the hard drive, you have all the information, but it's not running anymore, it's not active, it has no idea of anything, so even if time goes on, which, God is, he's outside this time, but anyway, if he... what did I get to? Yeah, if we are not active, well, time would not be any concern. We wouldn't feel any time. We wouldn't experience the times, because we are not, we are not ticking anymore. Anyway, so after that, okay, so, and the Spirit of God normally is translated as the Spirit of God, but it could also be, and the Spirit of the gods moved upon the face of the waters, because the Spirit of Yeshua is the Spirit of God, right? Yeah, so it's the Ruach HaKodesh. But of course, the Spirit is also in regards of wind, like when we can blow air, like God blowing into our nostrils, or into Adam's nostrils to give him life. Anyway, so we have the wind, the Ruach. So anyway, and here we have again Elohim and the gods. And the gods said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And again, the plural form. And the gods saw the light that it was good, and the gods divided the light from the darkness. Now, this is not talking about all the pagan gods. This is, of course, talking about the true, living God. But again, plural form. And that's a big problem for the Mohammedans. Really, really a big problem for the Mohammedans. Because Allah, in regards to the Mohammedans, cannot be plural. It's singular. And you can, if you could. And that's the problem when they take this oath, and we are not, to take any oath. But anyway, when they take this oath that there's only one God, one Allah, and so forth, and there's no other, and blah, blah, blah. And they're denying the scriptures. They are denying, the whole Bible. They have they're denying the true God. They are running to Satan. Anyway, the adversary, the old snake, the dragon, and so forth and so forth. So let's see. And the gods divided the light from the darkness. And the gods called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So again, we have the plural form of the gods. And the gods, that would be, how we would say it in English, right? The gods. Also in regards to the waters, also some plural form in that and all that. I'm just focusing on the gods at the moment. And the gods said, let there be a firmament in the midst. And again, if everything is created through the sun, and you have the Father and the Son, they are both working, right? They're both creating everything, They're working together, but they're still in union. They're still one, echad. But God is creating through His Word everything in creation. And the Word we know is Yeshua. So again, yeah. And the gods said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and did it divide the waters from the waters. And we would, in regards of Yeshua, he also says, he does what he sees his Father doing, and the words of Yeshua is the words of his Father. So he is, the one seemingly, where things manifest from or something like that. I'm not sure how, but it seems like the Father has his will, and through the Son, he's doing all these things. Not sure how it all works out, but it should be possible to find a meaning in it. When people say, "Oh, we cannot understand anything," I'm like, hey, I may not understand everything and all that, but if I'm going into the things and saying, hey, I just don't understand it, and it's just, it's not possible for me to understand. It's just, that's not the way to do it. It's there may be issues but studying God's words, God should be able to give us understanding and knowledge and wisdom by studying his word and all that, and being guided by the Holy Spirit, right? So anyway, and the gods made, again we have the plural form, and the gods made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. Now in regards of the waters here and all that, there's different people. It seems like from some of the Psalms that is talking about the clouds and the waters. Underneath you have the waters underneath, and you have water in, above the firmament. But again, the firmament is, let's see, Rakia. No, that's, okay. That was something in regards of the Shamayim, because the Shamayim, the birds are flying on the face of the Shamayim, I think. Or was it the Rakia? I have to find out if it was the firmament or I think it was the heavens, and the heavens is plural, so if the birds are flying on the face, and that's the face, that is like, you have the Rosh Hashanah, which is the first month of, is the first month of the year, which is in spring, not in not in the fall thing that the Jews are keeping nowadays, but that's the Rosh Hashanah. If you also look at the scriptures, Rosh Hashanah, according to Yehovah, is in the spring. So he uses these experience like in regards to the face of the first month is the face is the face is the first month. Rosh Hashanah, Rosh is the face and Hashanah is the year, so it's the head of the year, which is the first month. And we have the face, and the birds are flying on the face of the heavens, Hashemayim, which is heavens. So if they are flying on the face of the Hashemayim, well, that would only be a little on just on the tip of the heavens. So, and of course we know that's pretty much true. The heavens are pretty big. Anyway, I'm just trying to find, but anyway, and just throwing it out there. I may be totally wrong. I'm just trying to do the best that I can. And the gods made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. So again, he divides the waters. I think it would be talking about the clouds, holding water, and you have water again so underneath. So yeah. And the Hebrew word is archaea. And again, when I read the Hebrew, it's a lot deeper, and I'm really looking forward to actually being able to read more Hebrew, because it's just you just see some things that you wouldn't see in the translation, and I think we could actually make better translations. I think it's because for example, if we can actually translate God to the gods instead, Elohim as again plural form here, and they translate it as God. And if you look at all the translations nearly, I don't think there's any translation that actually says when it's talking about Yehovah, it's usually saying just God, when it's actually the plural form. Let's see. I don't think the SLT and God is also translated. But the thing is, and I've asked I've asked someone that seems to actually know Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic, so he knows a lot of things in regards to that. I still think he's wrong in regards of actually, and again that's because of Paul. So he's going into lawless mode. It's just so sad. But if you're following Paul and reading Paul, yeah, you would come to the conclusion. I think if you're just reading Paul, that yeah, the law is done away with and so forth, and some people will say, well, that's just because it's because some say defend Paul and says this because it's hard to understand his letters and so forth. So some will twist his letters in the direction that Paul is actually keeping the law, and some will go in the other direction and say, well, he says the law is abolished. And I just think we should take the middle road and accept that Paul was like a Greek for a Greek and a Jew for a Jew, and he changed like a chameleon. So anyway, so that's my view on it. I think it's pretty obvious. I think that he's actually speaking out of both sides of his mouth. Anyway. And the gods called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. I think it's the Shini, or Shini, I'm not sure. It doesn't have the. Let's see. Can we find a better second? Have some Shani. So it's actually with an A sound, A-Y. When you see the two dots down or up here, it's A, like hey, just A. So you have Shani, and you have the dot up on the right, and that shows it's S and a H. So you have Sheni. So isn't this just wonderful? I just anyway. Um, and the gods called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. And that's also, it's one of the places where they actually also cheat, I think, in some of the translations. You see where the first day, the King James version actually says where the first day. And in the Hebrew, it would be, but I think and I actually wrote to them in regards to this, and they say that this is the scripture version of the Bible. I think it's pretty good, but every translation seems to have some issues. And Elohim called, and they actually use Elohim, which is the plural form of God. So they actually use the plural form. That's actually nice, but they don't translate it as such. It's still the Hebrew. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning. One day. I was like, one day? One day? Are you going to translate it as one day? It's the first day. And if you look in the Hebrew, it's written the same, in regards to one day, the second day, the third day, and the fourth day. But, it's written that in the same manner in the Hebrew as well. But on the first day, they just translated it as one day. And then you go down to actually to the second day, and let's see, came to be where's the second? Oh, here we already have the third day. But let's just take the third day. It's just the same. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the third day. So here they say the third day, and they say the second day, and they say the fourth day, and the fifth day, and the sixth day. But, oh boy, the first day, no, that's too hard. And if you look in the Hebrew, it's just the same. And I wrote to them and said, I think you have some issue here. But no, they didn't think, apparently, that there was any issue with that. But I think, if you look into the Hebrew, by what I know anyway, it's the same, it's the same wording in regards of... So it should be the first day, like the King James Version translated it. First Echad Yom. And if you look in the Hebrew, it's the same way they... Let's see. Give me 5 here. Voka Yom Echad. So we have Yom Echad, and then we have Yom Sheni, I think. Let's see if we can find it. Yom Sheni. If what I'm saying is true, it should say like Voka Yom Sheni. Sheni, and this is Voka Yom Echad. This is the first day. So if it's going to follow the same rule in regards to the Hebrew, well, that should also follow the same rules in the English, right? So let's see. It should, yeah. So we have Voka Yom Sheni. So we have the same thing. Voka Yom, like Voka Yom Echad, Voka Yom Sheni. And the thing is, it goes on in regards to the third day, the fourth day, and the fifth. It's just, I think it's again, you can find issues with every single translation. But I'm just, just wonder why they would do that, day one or one day. Why would they actually flip it around, one, well, they're maybe not flipping around, but why would they use one and not first? Like the second, I don't write 2 day, right? Or 3 day, I write the second day, the third day, the fourth day, as they also write. I wouldn't say day, 1 day. Yeah, 1 day, okay. Which day is that? Well, it actually is the first day of creation, and the first day, when time is, time is going in this. Anyway, so we have, as I understand it, we have at least, we have 3 dimensions, and we have the fourth, which is time. So you have like, what is it called? You have the line, that's the first dimension. Then you have, I'm not sure if you go up first. So you have the line upward and the line to, can't remember what they're called. But you have when you have the X and the Y, and there's one more X and Y, and then you have one more X, Y, and Z. Yeah, you normally use in math. You use X, Y, and Z to depth and all that, and then you have a last dimension, which is time. And of course, God is outside time, and He can do whatever. He sees the whole picture. He sees the whole movie. We're just here seeing some of it, because we are in this dimension of time. So yeah. So that when people are talking about that, what was it? Something about the scriptures say that those that are getting saved are written in the Lamb of the book from the beginning of time. Well, the thing is, God is outside time, so He would already know who's actually written in the book of life. So isn't it cool in some sense? We don't know, but God knows. Or the gods knows. Jehovah, who was, is, and is to come. And of course, in regards of the Father, seemingly seems to point to the Son. So again, also the name of Jehovah seems like it actually could point to the Son. So, I did a lot of studies in regards to the name of God, Jehovah, and in regards to the grammar and all that. And it just dawned on me in regards of, well, it's actually just pointing to the Son. And every time you say Jehovah, it's in some sense pointing to the Son, And of course, if we love the Father, we would love the Son. And if we hate the Son, we hate the Father. So, let's see. Yeshua says, if you had loved your Father, you would love me because I come from Him, And before Abraham was, I am, they wanted to stone him so far. I think it's just... Anyway, so where were we? So, and the God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And the gods, again, the plural form, and the gods made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And God called it the gods called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. That's Sheni Yom or Yom Sheni. I think it's Yom Sheni actually. But again, when you go from Hebrew into English or Hebrew into Danish and so forth, or maybe also in regards to the Greek, you get into these, where the grammar changes and the wording changes. So if you want to, you have to get the same meaning in the other language, you have to, mix things a little around. And I'm still having a lot to learn in that regard. And the gods said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together. So we are talking about the waters under the heaven. Let's see if it actually is. It's probably the plural form of heaven here. So that would be the heavens, which is a little harder to translate in English or in Danish, I think. I have to look into that. And think about it. God is saying, He's saying things. When you say something, what is that? That's vibrations. That's waves. That's, energy, I think. And that's I think as I see it in regards of waves and particles, when you have science, for example, talking about, well, light is a wave and it's a particle. It's both a particle and a wave. And it's like, but in regards of the most natural state, I think is the wave. When we observe, it becomes a particle apparently. And we have these experiments, science experiments that they are making and so forth. But, speech would be waves, right? So the natural state, would be a wave or waves or sound or vibration, energy, movement in some sense. It was just a vibration. So, but he's saying something. He's, Vayomer. Every time he's, doing something, whatever, and he's saying something. He's by his word. He's actually making things, creating things, setting up. What do you call it? Setting up rules in the creation. Laws, and of course we have all these laws around us, and the thing is we have a law, what do you call it, lawgiver that made the laws in the first place, and he set up these rules that we have anyway. So the Elohim said, or actually the God said, let's go back to the English, shall we? That is just wonderful. Anyway, and God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. So you see, God said, and it was so. Isn't that, he said it, and because he said it, because the gods, or actually this is the plural form, so the gods, because the gods said so, it became so, So the waters under the heaven, or actually the plural form. Oh, did I actually check that? That was actually the point of actually going. What is it actually the plural form of? Yeah, Hashamayim is the plural form of. I'm not sure if it actually says it in my versions here. No. But as I understand it, that is actually the plural form. It's a plural form. You have the im at Hashamayim. Anyway, that's not the focus, and I still need to learn more Hebrew and all that to get, but we have the heavens where the birds are flying, and when we have the heavens where the stars and the moon and the sun and all that. And if you just read it in English, you're like, it sounds like he's just putting the moon and the sun in the heavens. I was like, okay. So is he putting them the same place where the birds are flying around, or what? No, because the birds are just flying around on the face of the heavens. But he's not saying that he actually puts them in, so in the face of the heavens. But he is putting them in the heavens. So there's some deeper things going on. That you can see in the Hebrew. Anyway, and the God said, let the waters under the heavens, actually, I think it could be translated as heavens, but anyway, be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. So anyway, and it was so. I think it's so incredible. Think about how much information is in the, in the beginning, And in the beginning, around 6,000 years ago. Anyway, and the gods called the dry land earth. And again, I need to look into in regards of but they translate it as earth. And the gathering together of the waters called he seas. So Yam, apparently in regards of Hebrew. And the gods saw that it was good. You see, again, the plural form of God, Elohim. So you also have a singular form of God, which is also used in the scriptures. Like, for example, El, I think it is El. I think El is the singular. But anyway, we have different titles for it. But anyway, Elohim is the plural form. And the gods said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so, because God said it, or actually the gods said it, and because the gods said it, it was so. So again, when we're talking about the gods, we're not talking about pagan gods. We're talking about the true living God. Or the true living gods. Anyway. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And the gods saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. So again, the third day, the fourth day. So here we have, we're going to the fourth day where he creates the lights. And again, I've heard different ideas in regards of the two lights and so forth. If you go to the book of Psalms, where you have, I think it's the book of Psalms where it actually talks. Maybe I think it's the book of Psalms. It may be some other place, but then it talks about the sun and the moon and all that. So that he created and all that. So the two lights, I think it's pretty clear, is the sun and the moon. You don't, anyway. And the gods said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven." Let's see, and the rakia, extended solid surface of the heaven. And again, it's the plural form of the heavens, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. Also, one thing in regards to there's many, but God is actually creating the earth before he actually creates the universe, the stars, the sun and the moon and the stars and all that. He's actually first creating them on the fourth day. So if you take the Big Bang first actually says this theory thing that is not provable and hasn't been proved and all that. It's actually just a fairy tale. And again, that's a bad word. I should find another word for it. But they say the Big Bang, and then the stars and the different things evolved and all that. And that's not the way the Bible actually tells it. Nope, it's not the way. It's actually in some sense the other way around. He first created the earth and then the stars, the sun and the moon and all. Actually, the sun and the moon first and then the stars, according to... anyway. And the gods said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven, or the heavens, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament," that would be rakia again, "of the heaven." So we have the firmament of, and you still need to do some research in regards to that, in regards of rakia, shamayim. Anyway, in the firmament of the heavens, to give, or heaven, they translate it as heaven. I would think it would still be the plural form as heavens, to give light upon the earth, and it was so, because God said it, of course, and then it was so. Like when Yeshua is saying something, it was just so, If he, what did he see, if he said, someone, call it, I must say, at the moment, it's just slipped my memory. I'm sure he said things, and but I must say it's a little hard to actually grab a hold of example at the moment. But he said, for example, that your sins were forgiven, and of course I think it was the Pharisees or something like that says, well, who can forgive sins but God? And then he just heals the guy because he shows, well, so you can just see that the Son of God has authority to forgive sins. So he heals this man, raise up and take your bed and walk out, or something like that. And because Yeshua said it, it was so, and he walked. And he took his bed and walked, and so forth. So anyway, yep. Also, there was something interesting actually in regard. I think it was the Aramaic, when Yeshua is actually walking on water. There seems to be some more in it in the Aramaic that actually points that he is actually God. Than what is actually found in the Greek, which is pretty interesting. I'm not sure which source I actually looked just anyway, something to look into at some point. And God made two great lights, and actually the gods made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. So on this is day 4, and he's making the sun to rule the day, and he's making the moon to rule the night, and then he makes the star as well, stars. So that's the stars, the Kokab or something like that, Kokab. Of course, the thing is, before the flood, things were different. We know things were different before the flood, with the worldwide flood. So maybe it was, who knows if there was. It also seems like if you look in the book, actually something I was thinking about. You see these 1,260 days, I think it is, and they say it's like 3.5 year and 1,260 days, and then it says 42 months, I think it is. And if you calculate in regards to the days, and then a month is actually 30 days. And if you actually look at how many, the moon in regards of a full cycle at the moment is 29 days and 0.52 something, I think it is. So it's not correctly, it's missing the mark in regards of 30 days. And maybe before the flood, maybe it was actually closer to that. Also in regards of how long a year is, if it seems like God is counting with 360 days is a year, and we are a little off today by 5 point something days. Solar year is 5 point something. So I can't remember that, but it's 365 point something. So if he's counting with 360 days, maybe in regards to before the flood, that the world, or in the beginning, that a year was actually 360 days, and that the month was actually 30 days. If you go to the book of Revelation, that seems to be what he's using. If you take the days and, you just look into it in regards, okay, because he's talking about the same time zones, but he's using different ways of describing these time zones. And it's like, okay, interesting. And maybe we could actually get something out of that, because if the moon was actually 30 days, because a month followed the moon, that's the thing. In the Bible, the month follows the moon, but because we have a corrupted pagan satanic solar calendar, that we are now following, most of the Western world are following it, and also in Israel. What was my point? Well, yeah, but that in regards to the moon, yeah. So a month follows the moon in the biblical calendar, and still do today, but it has a way of calibrating itself. Like also the solar year has some skip days or extra days or whatever, I can't remember. It's just, but to calibrate it. But in regards to the biblical calendar, it has a whole month that it sometimes put on the years, and sometimes it has 13 months instead of 12 months. But maybe it wasn't so in the beginning. Maybe the year was actually 360 days, and maybe a month was 30 days. So does that actually add up? Yeah, that's actually adding up. And maybe we could use that information to actually, if, let's say if the things were actually so, maybe we could see, well, maybe the moon is actually become, would that be faster or slower? That would probably be a little faster. So maybe something made the moon spin a little faster around. I don't know. And maybe the Earth a little slower, so it takes a little longer for everything to actually. So again, we are in a world that it's not seems to be on the clock as it probably was from the beginning, I would think. Anyway, so again, we have this worldwide flood and a lot of destruction and all that. And again, we know that things were a lot different before the flood because we can see that in the fossils from the worldwide flood. You know, all the fossils that are in the ground that we are digging up, well, from the flood. You know, if you want to make a fossil, the first thing you know need to do is to actually make some things over it. you know you bury it, and how do you bury so many animals? Well, you have a worldwide flood, and a lot of animals will be buried. Because yeah, that's what a worldwide flood does. And that's what we see, and we see fossils, we see animals, we see insects that are huge, animals that are huge, probably being more oxygen in the air, and more pressure maybe, and so forth and so forth. And the animals becoming larger. Animals probably also living longer, as man could live longer according to the Bible. Everything could apparently become a lot bigger than today and live longer, it seems, if you take everything into consideration and all that. And it seems like that people may actually have been smarter, not in regards of actually following God, but in regards of that the brain was working a lot better than it does today, because we are living in a fallen world. And many of us are not even reaching 100 years, and beforehand people could reach over 900 years. Anyway. Okay, and the gods made two great lights, and the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And how did he do it? Well, by his word, right? Let's see, I think. Didn't he say it? Let's see. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven." Yep, he said it. And then it was so. So that's great. And the gods, the light, and it was so. And the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars. So it's just something to think about in regards of course, in regards to the two great lights, it's the sun. One of them is the sun, and the other one is the moon. And then you have the stars, which are pretty many. We don't even know how many stars there are. It's like when I made a report on it, it was like 500 trillion galaxies times 400 trillion stars in each galaxy or something. I may be wrong in regard. There's something about when you go to Danish and English, and I'm not sure if there's a difference in regards of English England or in English US, but you in Danish you have million, milliard, trillion, trilliard, where the English just seems to skip, So again, in regards to the numbering, but it's huge. So you have this huge number times this huge number is just a wild number, and that's just the stars and the galaxies that we know of today. So and there's probably a lot more, we haven't found the ones that we haven't found yet. And, could be a lot more. In any case, there's a lot out there. So a lot of things we see anyway. According to science and according to what they observe. I have low power. Maybe I can get some power over here. No, it's not going to be. Just taking that out. Yep, so a little. It will give a little. Anyway, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. So God set them in the firmament. So God is actually setting them in the Rakia. I need to find out in regards to the Rakia and the Hashemayim. Hashemayim, that's the heavens, and the firmament, how that actually works out, because it seems like we have the firmament and we have the heavens, and God set them in the firmament of the heavens. So it is probably, again, the plural form of heavens. Like also, I think water is actually also usually translated plural. But anyway, the waters. Anyway, Vejiten otam Elohim, that's the plural form. Birkia in the firmament, and that has actually it has a prefix, so it has a beth as prefix to my knowledge. Yeah, Birkia, so it becomes yeah, in the firmament. I think, yeah, I think the beth is in. Yeah, you have different prefixes where you have a letter before the the word. You have like hey before it. It's just like the, and you have the lamed. You have the but anyway, you have lamed. Let's see. No, we have to have the var first. That's the and. That's the mostly you see the and this and that, and that's the var in front of it. It has different soundings. It doesn't make it easier. But anyway, there's different rules in regards of which letter is in front, but it actually means the same thing. And then you have the lamed, and of course it also has different soundings sometimes. And you have the lamed, you have the beth, of course, and here it's birkia, and sometimes it's an as. Can I pause this? I don't know. 2 seconds. Hello? Okay. Okay, back again. Det var aviser. What do you call it? Newspapers. Anyway. Vejiten otam Elohim birkia. Yeah, you have the lamed, you have the beth, you have the what was it? The kif. There's like a calf. I think it's a calf, yeah. And then you of course has the mem as also as a prefix, and a shin as prefix as well. Anyway, different prefixes, and I still need to learn, and you need to go through them, sometimes, and at some point they will stick to the brain, But don't expect it to. At least for me, don't expect it first time or second time or third time. You need to do it a couple of times. Anyway, birkia hashamayim, plural form of the heavens. So we have birkia, we have the firmament, and we have the heavens. To give light on the earth. And here we actually have haaretz. So haaretz, it's a prefix again, the earth. Aretz is earth, and we have ha. And of course, in regards to the English translation, you cannot, they're mixing a little up here and there and so forth. So it's not word for word in the English. I'm not sure if they use the King James version for the translation. They may actually do that, but again, in regards to the grammar, just not always. They need to flip some things around to make it make a little sense sometimes. There are some options where they do it word for word. I think it's called linear Bibles or something like that. There's one guy that is doing a lot of research. He's making he's trying to just really go a little deeper into the words and so forth. It's wonderful what they mean and so forth, and trying to give give more understanding to the English reader. Anyway, and the gods set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon the earth. So he's setting these lights in the firmament. So it's in the firmament, it's the bed, right? It was a bed. And that means in, I think. Normally, I can just check the grammar rules over here. Yeah, bed, in, on, or by. I think in is usually the most likely. But in, so in the firmament. So he sets, the 2 lights in the firmament and of the heavens, to give light upon the earth. Again, I'm not sure. I'm just a little how that works. Over here we actually also have the calf, which like or as. We have the lamed, 2, toward, or for. That's the 3 one we have there. Anyway, So I need to find out in regards to that firmament and in regards of that heaven or heavens. Anyway, and to rule over the day and over the night, and again today it seems like the moon is slipping a little away in regards of, maybe it was more perfect before the flood, in regards of actually, I don't know. It's just and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So and he's saying it's good many times in the beginning, and then begins to corrupt when we begin to make stupid choices. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And again, the fourth day is, if you look at the Hebrew, it's just works, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, and all that. But yeah. And the gods said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that had life. Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures. Oh, so maybe that's the earth creatures actually. Serets, teeming, swarming things, creepers, swarmers of insects, animals, small reptiles. Okay. But anyway, we as people or man are created from the dust of the earth. God creates us from the earth, but it seems like the animals are actually created from, the at least at least some of them, the birds that fly in the heavens and so forth. Just read this and Elohim and the gods said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that had life, and fowl, that's like birds, flying creatures, fowl, insects, birds, okay, fowl, birds, winged insects, and again, the insects could be, some of the insects that you can see from before the flood. Woo, yeah, huge. You really needed to have, of course, it doesn't, but I wonder how the women would react to all those big insects and anyway, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament. And again, there's something in regards to the face. Actually, it's the face of the firmament. Okay, so it's not the face of the Shamayim, it's the face of the firmament. Okay. No, it's the firmament of heaven. Okay. I need to find out how these two works together. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven. So, it's just the firmament of the heaven? So so the firmament is part of the heaven? Is that how it, so we have earth, and God divides the earth, the waters from the waters that are on the earth, from the waters which are, in the firmament, right? Wasn't it? So it's, let's see. Oh boy, it was good and divided the light. Where do we have where he begins to form? God called the light day and the darkness night. Yeah. Okay, and God said, the gods said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. So there's a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. So it divides the waters from the waters, and the waters are, some of the waters are on earth, and some of the waters are in the heavens. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament. Oh, so the waters are under the firmament. Okay. Yeah. And divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. So it's like we're above the firmament. Now I'm getting into trouble here, I think. I need to, that's the thing. Need to look more into the Hebrew. But because it actually says it's above the firmament, in regards to this translation, it doesn't say it's in the firmament. It says it's above the firmament. And the birds are flying on the face of the firmament as well. So that's a crazy. Let's see. Hebrew. Let's see how it says it in the Hebrew. Vayas made Elohim. That's the plural form of God. It, and that's like a pointer. Harakia, the firmament. You know, Rakia. The ha. That's the, and you have Rakia. That's the firmament. Vayavdel, and divided. Bain Hamayim, the waters, and again Mayim is the plural form of waters. Oh, actually, that's actually have the waters. Okay. Asher, which is actually also the prefix of shin. So sure, for example. Anyway, mitzarat, under. Okay, and it's like under. Let's see. The under part beneath, instead of, as for the sake of flat, onto, whereas the under part. Okay.
H847.
No. We don't want to. Okay. Larakia. Oh, we have a prefix here. Larakia. What was the lamed? Lamed was two. They don't use the two. Okay, to the firmament. Where under to the firmament is like under to the firmament. They translate it as the firmament. From the to the firmament. From Uvain. Didn't we actually have we have Bane up here and Vain, Uvain. Okay, so that's the thing in regards of the language in Hebrew. You have Bane up here, Bane, and the thing is you have Uvain down here. So usually you wouldn't think it actually, but the thing is it's because there's a prefix, there's a vav in front of it, which becomes a surek, which has the oo sound, and then it snaps the dot in the bed, so the bed becomes a ved. So now it's uvain. It's just I don't know why it is like that. But Hebrew have these weird rules. It's really hard, I think, for a Westerner to actually, at least, maybe I'm not that clever. Maybe I'm just not. Maybe I'm a little. Maybe I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Some of the one of the creationist guys that studies a lot. I think he's a professor or something like that. Educated in the system anyway, and he says that we already half brain dead when we are born, because if we had been born before the flood, we would have doubled the cells or something like that, brain cells. But because of the circumstances that we are now living in, we are already half brain dead when we come out. So we are all brain dead, not brain dead. We are already pretty much, if that is true, we are already pretty much, all of us retarded, in some sense. At least retarded, accordingly to the people living before the flood. So I know, yeah, that would be, we would probably look retarded to them in regards of brain function. They would probably be a lot more smart, and anyway. See, Hamayim asher mitzachat lachakia uvein, from Hamayim asher me'al, above. Me'al, is that above? Upon, it's like al. What is me'al? Me'al, is that me'al or me'al? Me'al. I'm thinking maybe there's a prefix in regards of me, and what is it? Me'al, the mem that means from or out of, from, me'al, from the above. I'm not sure if it is a prefix, but if you look at it, it's just al. So at least there's a mem in front of it, so it should be a prefix, and then it should be from or out of or something like that. From above, out of, above. Larakia. And then we have Larakia, so that's the firmament. And we have a La, was like La, that's two, the firmament. And it was so. I have to do some more studies into this. That's in regards of finding out La Rakia and Hama. That's the thing, when you have a translation as well, it doesn't really help in regards of the translation. You have the translation on top of because it was translated from the Hebrew. If you take the King James Version, it was translated from the Hebrew text. So if you want to get closer to the original, you need to read the Hebrew. So let's go back to the King James Version. So and the earth brought forth grass and herb and yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding. Where did we go? Well, I think be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. So it's in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Well, if the firmament divides the waters from the waters, it should be, we know some of the water is on the earth. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. So it says there are some waters above the firmament. We know where the waters is in regards below the firmament, that would be on the earth. And God called the firmament heaven. Oh, so the firmament, the Rakia, is called the Shamayim. Oh, so the firmament is actually just the heavens. Oh, we pretty much solved that, then okay. So the Rakia, every time it says Rakia, it's actually just the heavens. Okay. So how does that work in regards of which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. But it seems like, I think it's one of the songs where it's talking about the waters above the firmament, but I have to check that. But it seems like it's the clouds. The clouds have water in them. Of course, there's also water in the air itself. I think there's something about that in regards. If you take, for example, on the mobile, you can check in regards of humidity. Humidity. I wonder. It should be English. Humidity. Okay, so we have this humidity. How much? So understand how much water is in the air. And it's 100% at the moment. Usually in Denmark it's 100% most of the time. If you go to warmer countries, it seems like they have less. Anyway, back to so again, the Rakia is actually the heavens. So okay. The waters which were under the firmament from the heavens which were above the firmament. So it is above the firmament. Is that actually above the heavens then? Which were above the firmament. Again, what is being talked about in regards to the waters? Well, we know the clouds has water in them, right? It rains from the clouds, And again, I think it was from one of the books of the Psalms where it talks about creation and retells a lot of the things. Just need some water. I need to find that psalm. There's a lot of good psalms in the book of Psalms. Also in regards to retelling the story from where they go out from Egypt and so forth. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. Okay, so the firmament, the Rakia, is called the Shamayim, the heavens. Okay. And do I have some peppermint? I have some peppermint. 2 seconds. Oh, that's good. Peppermint oil. Yeah. And God said that the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry, and the gods, because it's the plural form, said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. Okay, so that is so the waters under the heaven is the ones that are on the earth, and one place that would be the big ocean. And of course, we don't know how it actually looked before the flood. And again, it could have been different. But we still have oceans today, right? We have a big ocean going all around, and uh, sometimes that's not a good thing in regards of when a nuclear plant explode, or actually was it like 3 kernels or something like that exploded and now still poisoning the seas. And well, if the whole ocean is connected together, of course all the ocean will be hurt by it. And yeah, you were really, really, really good at destroying this creation. I saw this documentary about those ships as well. Those which are running on crude oil, and the particles that are poisoning people and making them sick and so forth. Very, very sad. Or how they created that the light bulbs could only run for 1,000 hours, and then you needed to change the light bulb. It's so corrupt. And of course, there's the same, designed obsolescence or something like that. You design something to, become obsolete or not work anymore. So they design it that way. It's incredible, stupid, I think. And then people need to buy more. And again, it's the same thing in regards to the light bulbs. And one documentary about the one of the light bulbs is still working. It's like over 100 years, and the light bulb is still working. And no, but we needed to have light bulbs that only run 1,000 hours, because then we can keep the people running. Apparently, it's just so stupid. We're throwing things out. Also, just think about the time. And if you're an elderly person or something like that, you need to call an electrician, or maybe that's a little over the top, but some do. I would, some or some family member, and they need to use time and all that. And overall, this is pretty time consuming. And of course, they need to make more of these light bulbs because they break, which is also using manpower to do it, and which was actually not needed, because we actually had light bulbs that actually ran longer, and it's just corruption. It's just sad corruption. And the gods said, "Let the waters under the heaven, or the heavens, be gathered." That would be, and the heavens, of course, we know is now the rakia. So that's the firmament as well they're talking about. So under the firmament and under the heavens, be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And the gods called the dry land earth, and in the Hebrew it's eretz, or aretz maybe, eretz here. And the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And that's Yam again. And the gods saw that it was good. And the gods said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit whose seed was in itself after his kind. And the gods saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And the gods said, "Let there be lights in the firmament." And again, the firmament is the heavens, and actually it says in the firmament of the heavens. So great. So we're talking about the firmament of the heavens. Apparently it's a firmament. Extend the surface, expands. See, expands, firmament, expands, flat. Firmament of the vault of heaven. Vault. Let's see. Compare. No, not like that.
1. Volt Natsa.
No. We don't want to. have that. Oops. Oh, great. Could we get back to singular, double, cross, dialogue? Seller. No. Don't know. Where's my pin for this, actually? That's one of them, at least. It's not the best one, but at least it's better than nothing. Just because something is more expensive doesn't mean it's actually better. And the gods said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And the gods made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, that would be the sun, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. So we have the sun, the moon, and the stars, created on the fourth day. And God set them in the firmament of the heavens. I'm not sure why I didn't actually see it. The firmament of the heavens, it's the same thing. To give light upon the earth. So God set them in the firmament of the heavens. So he's setting the... Okay. To give light upon the earth. And to rule over the day and over the night. And to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And the gods said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that had life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open," and that's the Panaim, the face. So actually in the face of the firmament of heaven. So as I understand it, as the idea I have anyway, that the birds are flying in the face of the firmament, and because again in regards to the face and the head, the face would be the first. It would be the first. It would just be a little of the whole firmament of heaven. So it would just be the beginning of the heaven. That would probably be, the surface or the beginning of the heaven. The birds are flying around. So if where the birds are flying around is actually the face of the heaven, well, then the firmament of heaven should be a lot larger, because we only have the face, right? So we also have where the sun is, and the moon and the planets, and so forth, and the stars. And God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly. So the waters are bringing forth whales or large sea animals, every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. Again, it's I think it's going over the same thing again, just trying, it seems like it's a thing that the text does, which the waters brought forth abundantly, to teem, swarm, multiply after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. So again, we have the birds after his kind, and God saw that it was good. So, and God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth. I'm wondering, is this also in regards of animals living on the earth? Was they also created from the waters? Let's see. And God blessed them, saying, and actually the gods blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth." In the earth. He's talking about, the earth, And fill the waters in the sea, and let fowl multiply in the earth. It sounds like it may actually only be the sea animals and the birds, which apparently also are made from the sea. from the water. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. So that was the fifth day. So that the fifth day was then created the fowls and the sea animals, it seems like, and maybe some land animals. I'm not sure about the land animals, if that is actually, maybe the land animals actually comes the next day. So, but it's just, the water bring forth abundantly the moving creatures. The moving creatures, okay, yeah, that probably, the moving creatures would probably be the sea animals that had life. Raya, maybe, Rai. And fowl that may fly above the earth, okay, in the open or in the face of the firmament of heaven, okay. So I don't think we have any land animals at the moment. Okay, and God, as you see, it's still a plural form of God. And the God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature." Oh. So here, let the earth, that would be eretz, okay, bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping things. I think it's actually remes that we are normally not to eat. You could probably use the Torah in regards of the unclean animals rules to actually check some of these things. And beast of the earth after his kind, and it was so. So that's on the sixth day, God is creating the land animals now. And the gods made, made the beast. Sometimes he's using created, and sometimes he's using made. Apparently it can be used. Made can be used as created, and created can be used as made. It seems like if you actually look into the Hebrew and do a search on the numbers, the H6213, and the other one in regards to created. I'm not sure where that is, but if you take those two numbers and search, you can have a list and you can look over all the list, and you can find examples where they are used interchangeably, or whatever you want to call it. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And actually it's the gods saw that it was good, if we're going to use the plural form. And the gods said, "Let us make man." Here we go. Okay, here we have another one. Again, you see, God, Elohim, is still plural. It's still Elohim. And the gods said, "Let us make man." Let's actually see if it actually doesn't say the... what think it actually... Vayas Elohim et harakia. We lost it because it's... Oh, why do we need nefesh? Okay, yeah, Vayomer and said again, it's just not really there. But in English, you would say the gods, I think, in regard. You couldn't just say and said gods. Yeah, you would have the gods. You would need the anyway. And the gods said, "Let the earth bring forth a living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the, in Israel. I remember we saw these big black, what do you call it, 1,000 legs or something like that. Of course, they don't have 1,000 legs, I think, but wow, those just disgusting. Anyway, after his kind, killed cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth after his kind, and it was so. So they are made from let the earth bring forth. So this is the earth bringing forth the living creature. Okay. And God made. Sorry, my voice is a little broken here. And the gods. That was annoying. Usually I can talk a long time, but seems like I'm pretty much breaking down in regards of the voice. So. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. I wonder in regards to the insects then, if they actually, I think remes may actually be insects, but I have to look into that. After that kind, and every winged fowl after that kind. Where was it? Living creature after his kind, cattle, and creeping thing. Okay, that would probably be the insects. So they're made on the 6th day. And beast of the earth, I think, anyway. And beast of the earth, I think remes is like, creeping things, moving things, like...
Page 7431.
Nope. Reptile, or any other rapidly moving animal that creeping, moving thing. Again, I think, when he talks about insects in regards of unclean foods and all, but anyway, there's something to look into. After his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind, and it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after, I think actually anyway, yeah. And actually, it's still the gods made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And the gods saw that it was good. And the gods said, here we have one of the important places. And the gods said, let us, he's saying us, make man in our, we have us, our, plural form of God, image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. Rule, have dominion, dominate, tread down, to have dominion, rule, okay, over the fish, of the sea, of the yam, and over the fowl of the air, okay, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Okay, so God, and here we have created, so here we have bara, and if you take the word for created, or the Strongs, the H1254, and you take the other one in regards of made. I think that is actually Asaya made or make. If you take the H6213 and H1254 and do a search, just take every place that is found in the Bible which has those, and you can do a study on that and see that it's actually, you can interchange created and made or make. Anyway, so God created man in his own image. So now it goes from and the gods created man in his own image. So he's creating him in his image. So it seems like it's a little singular here. In the image of God. So God has an Salam. It's like hasn't used also in regards of pagan gods and all that, the so-called images and all that. But in the image of God created he him. So male and female created he them. So God created male and female. And when he talks about creating male and female, I think it was, he starts out creating Adam. But the thing is, the woman is already in Adam. The X and the Y is in Adam. And the woman is taken out of, which is the X's. She's taken out of Adam, so that makes sense. So anyway, just my theory view on it, that it wouldn't make much sense if God had taken man out of woman, because, she doesn't have the Y. So that's a problem. Anyway. Scientifically, anyway. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. Yep. Okay, and actually again, so the gods created man in his own image. In the image of the gods created he him, male and female created he them. And the gods blessed them, and the gods said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. So it's, they have the dominion over it. Bring it into bondage, okay. And have dominion over the fish and the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So man is given dominion to rule the world, it seems. And the gods said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of the tree, yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Ochla, food, actually, food eating. They use meat in regards to the tree. Seeding, bearing seed. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. So every green herb was food for the animals, so they were not eating, other animals, it seems. And the gods saw everything that he had made. Now he uses the made, asa, and behold, it was very good. So he's saying now it's very good. Me'od, very good. And tov. Me'od tov, or maybe it's the other way around in the Hebrew. Tov me'od. Yeah, I think it would actually be that. Let's look. Tov me'od. I think I've heard that, yeah. Tov me'od. They have a way of changing the ways. The grammar. And it was tov me'od, very good, and the evening and the morning were the sixth day. And of course, the first chapter stops, but it doesn't really stop. It's just because it seems like someone have been drinking a little too much of the wine when he made the chapters, apparently. I don't know, but yeah. So it says, thus the heavens, actually uses the plural, that's nice, and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work. And again, this is one of the places where the Samaritan text actually says the sixth day, I think. And on the sixth day, God, or actually the gods, in regards to the plural form still being used, the gods ended his work, but here it uses singular in regards of his. So again, maybe it's my bad in regards to the plural form, but again, we have this, if we have the Son and the Father, and they are echad, you would both have plural, and you would have singular being used, And on the seventh day, the gods ended his work, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. It would maybe make a little more sense in regards of, and on the sixth day, God ended his work. Of course, on the sixth day, he ended his work. He created everything on 6 days, and that's why we keep the Sabbath on the seventh day and so forth, because he rested on the seventh day. Anyway, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. So again, maybe in regards to the Samaritan text actually having 6th day, I think it's the 6th day up here, Maybe, just maybe they are actually correct on that. I don't know. But it seems to make more sense. And if their version of the Torah is actually going a long way back, pretty much very old, may actually be the oldest, Torah in some sense, going back to in time. So who knows? I don't know. It's interesting anyway. That it's some of the places where we know there's some corruptions in the Samaritan text, but maybe there are some issues in the Masoretic text. And there are some places where, for example, there's missing a line, and it's pretty obvious that there should be a line in there. And then we have other versions that actually shows there is a line there. So anyway. And the gods blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work, which Elohim, which is the gods, created and made. So actually here he uses both created, bara, and asa. Okay. These are the... Okay, so actually here we have a stop. And what actually also makes sense, which the gods created and made. And so here we have a stop. And here the chapter should actually have, here the chapter should have been, if you want to put a chapter in it. See, here we go. This begins in another chapter. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth, and of the earth, when they were created, and there was Asa, Nebara, in the day that Jehovah, Elohim, the gods, made the earth and the heavens. Now again, I don't know in regards of the plural form in regard, but that's in the Hebrew. So, but when you see that this actually begins something new, you also see that now they begin to use the name of God. They didn't use the name of God up here, but here we have the name of God beginning to be used. This is actually the first place where the name is used. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, for Jehovah, the gods, had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. So it doesn't, the mist are coming from the earth. It watered the face of the ground. And Jehovah, the gods, formed man of the dust of the ground. So here we have that we are formed from the dust of the ground. And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. The neshama, apparently. I would think it would have been the ruach, but apparently I'm wrong in regards to that. I thought it was the ruach that was actually breathed into man, but seemingly it says neshama, spirit, breath of life, chaya, and man became a living soul. Yep, into the nostrils. And became a living nefesh. A living chaya, okay. And Jehovah, the gods, planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made Jehovah the gods to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the thing, there's a lot of things to study more into and all that, but yeah, I don't know. So in regards to the plural, I just tried that there may actually be, is there a possibility that is actually a fair translation in regards of the plural thing? That's the thing I'm thinking, Is it actually okay to write the gods? You know, if you go to the translation, the other translation here, let's turn this around. If you go to the scripture translation, they use Elohim. And Elohim, again, is the plural form of God, so, you know. Oh, maybe that's Beyom HaShavi, yeah. I sadly don't have the Samaritan version on the mobile. I have the differences on the computer, but you can't see that. So anyway, I'll stop the video now and think I'll just take a little nap. Anyway, may Jehovah bless you and Yeshua be a precious pearl, and the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, be in us all. Amen. Shalom, all of you. Shalom.